And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho, and this is SNN. Today we're once again broadcasting live from the banks of the River Styx. It's very dark down here. I don't know what's going on with the souls. I believe these little lights here are the souls. I don't know. Is Charon, the boatman of the River Styx, just an allegorical boatman? By the way, please turn the lights up because we've got these Stygian mosquitoes again. There we go. That's much better. And demonic mosquitoes are not what you really want. And before we get into the space weather, I'd like to make a confession. I have decided to broadcast here from the banks of the River Styx to avoid U.S. politics. It's been going on for, well, it's really been going on for 4 years. And I'm a little bit on the fed up side with it. So through Halloween, we will be broadcasting from this location. Let's take a look at the sun, which has produced some solar flares and some coronal mass ejections pretty much at the same time, give or take. And here's the 94 angstroms full disk view, and the coronal mass ejection is happening right there. And it's not fully ejected yet. Whether or not it'll collapse, remain suspended, or enter the solar system is anybody's guess. It does look like it's happening at the same time as a solar flare there. Right at the end of the video at about, geez, I don't know. Looks like about 1:45 Universal Time this morning. So there's the one-day view of that. Here's a close-up from HelioViewer. And that's just some plasma being flung around by magnetic fields there. And let's take a look at Lagrange point 5. And you can see, as I sort of talked about yesterday, we often see coronal mass ejections on the opposite side of the sun. And that would be no surprise. Again, that coronal mass ejection is not fully ejected yet. You can see right here where my pointer is. There's still a lot of plasma whose fate is yet to be seen. And let me just break out Epic Pen here. I apologize, we are streaming live at twitch.tv/smAshomash. And we've got, here's another custom view for you. We've got 3 more of them from HelioViewer. We're going to start out with the magnetic fields to see what's going on with that. And there you can see the field plots. When I did show prep, I saw Umbre up here, down here, and here, the main sunspot group. Let's check out some more views here. Not a lot of magnetic activity going on with those, at least no major changes going on with those 3 sunspot regions. Here's the full disk 304 angstroms view, and you can see that's probably the best wavelength to view coronal mass ejections through. Ionized helium spectra. And what is going on with my controls today? Oh, there we go. I'll let that play through a second time for you here. Great view of a bunch of activity kicking up. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Welcome to Cycle 25. We also captured a C-class flare right at the end of the video. It's like the last second right there. There's actually a double. And here's the 171 angstroms view. It does show you that coronal mass ejection at northern latitudes, right in the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. We just don't really see an Earth-facing coronal mass ejection too much, not as of yet. And again, keep an eye on the space weather analysis, the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center. Look at Stereo A and look at the LASCO C2 and C3 throughout the day. The radio flux is up to 75, and we've selected a portion of the data here to show you how similar to sunspot number that radio flux actually is. Very similar. And back in 1947, when it was discovered, it was very useful as it allowed us to guess solar activity despite not being able to see sunspots on a cloudy day because there were no space-based instruments. KP index is currently at 2. That's a measurement of global magnetism, by the way, thanks to our new viewers. And there you can see those 2 C-class flares, the largest flares we've seen for quite a while here. We don't see any major proton strikes yet, and we've started showing this graph here in preparation for more significant solar activity. Next, looking at the real-time solar wind. First, I'm going to actually check the life of the stream here and check the chat. Thanks for tuning in. Be stoic. Thanks for leaving comments. Good morning. Phi angle has recently shifted out of 180-degree territory. Now down to 147 degrees. Solar wind density 8.3 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed remains elevated at 517 kilometers a second. Here's what's going on in the magnetosphere. According to the Space Weather Modeling Framework, it's 4 hours of data courtesy University of Michigan. By the way, broadcasting from the banks of the River Styx helps our concentration, as I'm somewhat immune to the psychic attacks of demonic entities. Also, we've discovered that holy water is great Stygian mosquito repellent. So that was great. Thanks, Amazon, for delivering that to an alternate plane of existence. Here are the ground geospace magnetic perturbations, and let me just talk about this for a minute. The reason that we watch this every day is because perhaps this tells us about the internal structures that are generating the Earth's geomagnetic field. Yes. So things like the South Atlantic anomaly, the location of the poles, and all of that are all associated with the matter inside of the Earth. And since all things matter, condensed matter matters. And how the Earth's geomagnetic field is generated is super important to people like catastrophists, geologists, and cosmologists, as the generation of the Earth's magnetic field is one of the greatest mysteries in all of science. How it affects the climate and things like that are kind of important. And let's get into more data here now that I've gotten some, perhaps I've gotten some wheels turning, as again, this should elicit some information about the Earth's internal structure from which the geomagnetic field is generated. GOES magnetometer is looking pretty spiky here, and we are in a moment of crossing a polarity boundary in the current sheet. Here's the view from the top view ecliptic plane field plot, part of the National Sunspot Observatory, and this is showing us the potential field force lines of the heliosphere, the current sheet. And we are in the process of switching into the South Pole current sheet most likely. Expect that to be in the next 24 hours. The Earth's orange field force line here should be in this red South Pole oriented current sheet. Here's the view from the line of sight. It shows you the B field also in blue. By the way, for magnetohydrodynamics nerds, the B field is the field that goes through the magnet. And when we were looking at the ground geospace magnetic perturbations, we were looking at the Earth's B fields. I should say B field, as it is a product of the interaction between this poloidal field and this poloidal field. To the extent to which they overlap is the B field. And I won't get any more in depth into that, as it's a daily space weather. We don't want this to be super in depth. It's not a cosmology segment. Keep in mind this is magnetic data and it can change suddenly, as we've shown you in the past. Next, looking at the coronal field plot of just the corona, and this shows a significant coronal hole there in the east. You can see all those purple potential field force lines there. And you can see evidence of the north solar polar field lines in a state of closing and turning pink, and the south solar polar potential field lines turning to black, indicating that they're opening, an indication of that polarity boundary crossing. And let's do the smash lights. Now, we don't do the smash lights every day. Some days we do, some days we don't. I'm not sure if there are giant storms at the poles. Perhaps we'll take a look at that on Null School. We'll get to it in a minute. Thanks again for the comments. Be stoic. So today's smash lights is going to be pretty brief. Check it out. Cygnus X3 has just come off of its quiescent state. So we've been following this. It's been down here right around the 0 line, which is way down here on the historic graph that goes all the way back to 2005. And now it's moved into its loud state. Hopefully somebody was looking at it with a radio telescope, because it's gone from way down here to way up here. And we'll be keeping a careful eye on Cygnus X3. If you want to follow transients yourself, head to the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory, hit Control F, and for instance, if you want to look up Sagittarius A star's activities, just type in SGR space A, and there are the outbursts in X-ray of the core of the Milky Way galaxy, Sagittarius A star. Cygnus X3 is actually the star Deneb, and no. That's all I have to say is no. Don't you agree? I guess the COVID's getting embarrassed as its mortality rate drops and drops, and the stupidity rate of mankind seems to continue to increase, as we've been reporting since January 23rd at the Smash News Network. Please don't forget to check out smashamash.com/forum. There's all kinds of interesting information there. We're growing our organization. Check our links. We got links to our social media there. Thanks, Smash staff, for the delightful work. We hope your back is feeling better. And don't forget to click the links. Affiliate link. We've got 2 Smash stores on Teespring and more to come. Today's featured product is the Mansa shirt in black block. Shout out to all of our Antifa-based viewers. The Mansa shirt is nonpartisan. So if you were not aware, the Mansa shirt is nonpartisan. It stands for Make America Not Suck Again. Let me just tell you a little story. I know somebody who has Trump derangement syndrome real bad, and I sent her a link to the shirt, and I said, use the promo code MANSA through October 31st to save 10% on all Teespring orders. And she said, I hate Trump. And I said, you're deranged. I didn't even mention Trump. And the Mansa shirt has nothing to do with Trump, because making America not suck again is up to you, the individual citizen, not the government. By the way, we are streaming live to Twitch. Thanks to our followers over there. Consider following us at Twitch, twitch.tv/smashamash. You'll see these videos live. Their mobile app is fantastic also, by the way. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press like and subscribe over there. Share the videos on your social media. Visit our playlists. Perhaps subscribe to them. Press the notification bell. You might even see when we put up a video. Who knows? Now, we did an exclusive yesterday for BitChute. It's the BitChute exclusive Banks of the River Styx. Let's talk Turkey. All tech is the answer. Here's a clip. Which is deeply involved in all of these effects, as there are people who are so skilled at computer programming that they can backward engineer some aspects of software just simply by looking at output. Anyway, we didn't put that on YouTube for a reason, and it's because we're branching into alt tech, and we're encouraging others to do the same, because maybe you've noticed some problems with your social media accounts. Maybe you've noticed a little bit of censorship in media, whether it's trying to put out the fire of nonsense on the internet with actual truth and science, or whether it's about politics or who knows, COVID, climate change. What a trifecta of nonsense we've experienced in 2020. Welcome to the year of clarity. Just wait until next year. It's going to be the year of accountability. Make sure those who are screwing up the planet, making America suck, making the earth suck, are held accountable. Minds.com is one of those alt-tech sources. Minds.com, it's the alternative to Facebook. Check us out there. Send us some tokens, as we can't even boost our posts. It's been pretty non-busy over there. It's been pretty tumbleweed sort of a situation at Minds. So set up an account, send us some tokens so we can boost our posts. If you go to the images section, you will find dank memes like, who votes for these people, much less trust them to legislate? We're also on Facebook. And yes, there's rampant censorship on Facebook. We're there anyway. We're also on Twitter. And if you haven't read the most recent quotes, check it out. Tony Hawk's invented a new trick. It's a varial nose grab, 1 foot tail slide over the gap. Here's my second most recent tweet. It's a retweet. Media worldwide. Oh noes, duh, virus. Rational people, dude, no. COVIDiots, don't worry about your cardiovascular health, although it's the leading cause of death for developed countries. Worry about COVID, even though the largest comorbidity factor is cardiovascular health. Now that I've gotten that out of my system, let me get this out of my system. Kamala Harris is the worst possible choice, I think, in the entire world that Biden could have picked as a VP, as she is a corrupt cop who slept her way into the DA's office in Los Angeles. I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but she's utterly corrupt, and she's been telling lies to 60 Minutes. Maybe she'll face a slander suit after she loses the election in a massive landslide. Now, everybody that's concerned about criminal justice reform should totally relate to what I'm saying. What a joke. What a joke. If anybody wants to see criminal justice reform, elect somebody besides a crooked cop to be a denizen of the White House. Not crooked Kamala. Thanks to our patrons, a true source of funding for the content. We might not even be making these videos if it wasn't for our patrons. It's patreon.com/smAsho. Please consider joining there. We have 9 tiers right now, and that'll all be changing by New Year's Eve. We'll announce all of it later. Thanks again to our patrons. Patreon.com/smAsho. Here ends another Smash Light segment. It'll be integrated. Let's talk electrons. Well, the electron flux is now at over 16 times the warning levels. There's the 1-year chart, and as I forecasted yesterday, this is going to be just above this most recent electron storm. We see pretty major charging hazards here for satellites over the southern hemisphere, not so much over the northern hemisphere. And here is the forecast, and you can see forecasted to level off in a couple of days. There's the 3-day chart of the electron flux, and this does things like cause GPS errors and so on. Also, communications breakdowns can happen. Here's the visualization of the total electron content forecast, and this shows you the whole thermosphere, the entire air column all the way from the thermosphere down to your handset. It's not looking particularly anomalous. I'm going to let it play through a second time. Did you know that pro cyclists can do many, many things at once, such as change our clothes while riding a bike? Just thought I'd like to fill you in. Don't try it at home, kids. It's only for the professionals. Next, looking at the just one layer of the ionosphere. It's one layer of the atmosphere. It's the ionosphere. And it's looking quite anomalous here. We're seeing major charge ups on the nighttime side and some pulsations on the daytime side. So ionosphere looking a little anomalous here, and we view this daily to immerse you, our viewer, in the data. And by the way, I'm also not only SMASho, I'm a client, so I watch the videos at the premieres. Let's talk about the Great Conjunction of 2020. Jupiter and Saturn will be closer in the sky than they've been since the year 1623. That'll happen on December 21st, right near the solstice, perhaps coincidentally. Jupiter and Saturn about to make a close meeting in the sky. Here's where stuff is in the solar system right now. There's where things will be in a week. 1 week from now, Election Day. Have your bunker all ready. Have your bunker outfitted. Have you put up lace curtains in your bunker? Do you have LED screens disguised as windows so you can make it look like you're seeing the outside? Next, looking at earthquakes of the past 24. Actually, let me first check the chat and check the live stream. And yes, those alignments do change our orbits slightly. I would not disagree with that. And over the past 24, we don't see any major earthquakes. We see a deep one here near Guam. It's only a 4.6 magnitude. It's 136 kilometers depth. Small deep quake in Alaska, small deep quake in western South America. Largest of the past 24 is a 5.0 in Iran. Oh, and by the way, speaking of pronunciations, stop saying Moscow. It's pronounced Moscow, not Moscow. Moscow, not Moscow. Moscow's not a thing. Next, looking at volcanoes. Here on volcanodiscovery.com, we see more activity on the Kamchatka Peninsula, one of the most volcanically active regions in the world, especially over the past couple of years. Karimsky is exploding and it's producing a 16,000-foot ash plume. Suwanosejima, flight level 07, 7,000-foot ash plume there, 7,000-foot ash plume at Takono. Pacaya exploding, uptick at Pacaya, now producing an 11,000-foot ash plume. I forgot how to say the word 11. Sangay exploding also, flight level 220, 22,000 feet there. Ravenador exploding, 15,000-foot ash plume there. And Sabancaya's exploding, 27,000-foot ash plume there. Please don't attempt a back handspring over the caldera. And check out the weather.gov map. You want to hear some anomalous low temperatures? How about hard freeze warnings in southwestern Texas? That was my Paul Joseph Watson impersonation there. We've also got I don't know, I don't like this, ice storm warnings, and there's some thunder snow happening once again. Holy cripes! Son of my beehive. Next, looking at the surface winds here on nullschool.net. Let's see if we see storms at the poles. Well, there's one right by the net North Pole, very close to the net North Pole, which isn't really a pole, it's just a net pole. And here's the South Geographic Pole. Not really stormy. Anyway, let's look at 250 hectopascals to see the jet stream of the Western world. There you go, Brett. That was for you. Also, I shrunk my head. I shrunk my head just for one of our viewers. See, that's how seriously we consider comments over here at the Smash News Network. Somebody tells me he'd like my head to vanish. Like, not for real. He just wanted it to be on the other side of the screen or something when relevant. Yeah. Anyway, look at that extreme bend in the jet stream, injecting some frigid air, not the refrigerators, way down to Mexico. Extreme flows here in the southern hemisphere as well. Next, looking at the eastern world's jets. There you go. And we're looking at the snow forecast through the rest of October. So at midnight, on Halloween, there's still going to be snow all around those areas, according to the Euro forecast. And let's just advance this into tomorrow at noon. There's where we expect things to be tomorrow at noon. And check out the record-breaking snows. Almost the entire state of New Mexico expected by the Euro forecast to be snow-covered. And speaking of snow cover, we are entering the 4th winter with 2 standard deviations above the 30-year average snowfall. So 2017 to 2018, 2018 to 2019, and 2019 to 2020 all feature 2 standard deviations above normal snowfall, to the point where it's moved the entire graph approximately 300 gigatons right now above normal snowfall for this time of the year in the northern hemisphere. It must be so hot that it's cold, folks. And by the way, carbon dioxide doesn't drive the climate. I don't know how many times I can say it. And check it out, we've got lightning striking along with winter weather conditions, thunder snow and ice, making for some interesting weather patterns there, to say the least, over the Texas stovepipe. There you can see all of that freezing rain, as well as heavy snow there in northwestern Texas. And a long line of moisture going all the way from Newfoundland to Santa Fe, I guess. Oh my God, what's happened? I've lost control. And let's move on to the water vapor map here to show you this convergence. When I went to Germany, they told me that everything is bigger in Texas. When I went to Texas, they told me everything is bigger in Germany. I was unable to figure out which is bigger. Please leave a comment if you are familiar with which is bigger, Germany or Texas. Where do they have the biggest skyscrapers, yeah? Germany or Texas? Anyway, look at those convergence lines. Man, if you're flying a plane around these areas, it's going to be like driving down a dirt bumpy road on a bus. Man, oh man. Some funky weather kicking up. And let's take a look at this convergence line here over the Great Lakes region. Some massive pressure gradients there between that dry mass of air and that moist air. Some channels forming there. And hey, Smash team, thanks for tuning in. Allow me to vanish. Check the stream in the live chat one more time. It's about that time to remind you to keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. But first, make sure you head to SMASHomash.com. Visit our links. Help to support the channel. Perhaps become a patron. Have you seen our affiliate links? We've dipped our tippy toe into the Amazon affiliate space. If you want to see our shopping list, check that out. More stuff to be added soon there. And again, today's featured product is, at the SMASho store, it's the Mansa shirt in black. Make America not suck again. It's up to you. And don't forget to apply the promo code MANSA on checkout. It'll save you 10% through Halloween. We've got bonus features, and they're going to be in the form of the 131 angstroms 48-hour SDO video, the intensitygram to show you all these sunspot ombre, and the colorized magnetogram to show you what's going on with the fields. And there is stuff going on with the fields. So there's that sunspot. When I did show prep, this was a sunspot too. It looks like it might have degraded. And there was umbra up there also. So a bunch of new activity kicking off here. And indeed, those are still sunspots. So this is another beta class, as we see a South Pole umbra here and a North Pole umbra here. And this is just big. This is actually sort of increased a little bit now in its stature. And we see some further consolidation of that spot. It's looking like it's getting some penumbra now. So it's getting a little more defined. And we do see some umbra up there also, so we could end up with 3 sunspot groups soon. Here's the 131 angstroms 48-hour SDO video. It's about that time. We got to get out of here. There's lots of stuff to do. Lots of stuff to do. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that covidiously absent from your plane of existence.